Hey guys, Mark the Mentor here, back with another video. In this video, I'm going to be talking about what may work for others, it may not work for you. All right, what may work for others, people box truck business, it may not work for your box truck business. All right, so lately I've been just hearing things, I've been seeing things. How are you able to do this? How is this person able to do that? If this is only paying that much, how are you making money? I actually put out a video a few days ago, and I had a few people in the comment section ask me questions. It wasn't backlash or anything. They just wanted to know how I was able to profit, because when I had IKEA, I was making $500 a day. All right, and on the weekends, I had a guarantee of $600 a day. And a couple people questioned, well, how are you profiting? And if you got to pay this, you got to pay that, you got to pay this, you got to pay that. So I just want to kind of address some things and go over some things and kind of explain different situations in box trucking and how one person's situation can vary to the next person's situation. All right, so first let's talk about margins. All right, I've spoke on this before. Margins in trucking, for trucking companies and for owner operators, is very, 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 very small. The margins are small in this business. All right, margins are very small. So you have to come into this business with a plan. I always speak on plan. All right, you can't just jump into this business without really doing your due diligence. All right, yes, I understand you may be excited, you really want to get in, you may have the capital to jump in, but the capital that you have, you may be able to save some of that money if you do your due diligence. So let's get into it. Let's talk about it. Let's jump into overhead. All right, overhead, margins, low margins. That means you need to decrease your overhead. If you're jumping into this industry and you're jumping in with high overhead, you're never going to make any money. You're never going to make any money, because everything that you see, you're going to think it's not paying enough because you have a high overhead. You have to decrease your overhead. You can decrease your overhead by having a business plan, doing your due diligence, doing a lot of research and planning. And then you will see yourself making some money. You'll see yourself making some money by decreasing your overhead, because the margins are small. There's no way around it in this industry. Especially if you're running like middle mile, you got 2-3 people eating off the plate before you even eat. If you got a dispatcher, the dispatcher eating, the broker eating. If you're running from a logistics company, if you're not going straight to the manufacturer picking it up, then they got to eat. And they taking the biggest chunk. Examples. Let's talk about examples. Let's give an example of Final Mile. I put up a post the other day, IKEA. I'm just going to use myself as an example because it's easier. I put up a post the other day, IKEA, and the video, I gave my numbers. I had a guarantee, $500 a day, right? Per truck, $600 a day on the weekend. A few people said, how are you able to make money if you got to pay your truck note, you got to pay your insurance, you got to pay this, that, and the third? Who said I had any truck notes? I never said I had any truck notes. Out of all the trucks that I bought them all cash. I had, 2 trucks I bought brand new that I had notes. All my used trucks, I bought them cash. Everybody's situation is different. I got in this game in 2010. When I started buying trucks in 2013, I was buying trucks for the low dough. The game was different then. All my 16 footers was $7,900, $8,900. I was buying 26 footers, $15,000, $20,000, $25,000. I was buying brand new trucks. I bought brand new trucks, $30,000, $28,000, brand new from the dealership. All right. I didn't have truck notes. All right. So, and I'm not I know the people that questioned, they just wanted to know. So I didn't have any overhead as far as finance. I was going to the truck lot, dropping 8,000, 9,000 cash. Wasn't no big deal. One truck was paying for another. I go buy a truck, and then the next month that truck will buy another truck. I didn't have that overhead. As far as insurance, I found a way to make money locally. When my broker said, "Hey, Mark, you can drop down an interstate, you're not crossing state lines," my insurance cut in half. I don't pay high insurance. Never really have. Never really had to pay high insurance. Second of all, I don't run Progressive. A lot of people that I talk to for mentorship, or they say, "Hey, Mark, can you help me with my insurance, man? I'm paying $1,700, $1,500, $1,800. I've heard somebody say they were paying a month for insurance for one truck. And I said, "Let me guess, you got Progressive." "Yeah, how do you know?" Because that's the only that's the first company people go to when they research and trying to get into the box truck game. They go to Google, they Google commercial truck insurance. Of course, Progressive is going to pop up because it's the biggest commercial marketed insurance company. Their SEO is Trump tight, which is their search engine optimization. They're going to come up, and it's I'm sure it's the only commercial insurance company that you as an individual can go on their website, put all the specs in, and they'll print you out a COI. Any other commercial insurance company, you got to go through a broker, which leads me into, you should go through a broker because the broker is going to shop you around. He's going to make sure you get the best rate. I've spoke on this before, right? Get a broker. Stop going with Progressive. Find a broker. Let the broker shop you. 60 days when you're up, prior to you being up for renewal, a year later, the broker's going to shop you on the market again to make sure you get the best rates. You don't have to use the same company for everything. I have 3-4 different insurance companies. My general liability is different from my commercial auto. It's different from my cargo. I don't hire the same company because my broker is working finding me the cheapest rates. If Grange is charging me X amount of dollars for all three, but I can get Grange for commercial auto, get Acuity for general liability, and get National Fire and Liability for cargo and save money, then that's what he's going to do. And that's what we do. And I have an intrastate DOT. So like I said, I'm not paying interstate DOT. I'm local. All right. So my situation is different. Why? Because I got in the game a long time ago when the cost of entry to get in the game was a lot cheaper. It wasn't popular as it is now. It wasn't saturated as it is now. No one was thinking about it in 2010. People were in it, yeah, but e-commerce wasn't as big as it is now either. Now it's saturated. We're living in a gig economy now. There was no Amazon Relay back then. None of this stuff existed when I got in. All right. So my situation is going to be different. I can operate and run that account for $500 because I don't have the expenses. After I run that account for $500 a day, you know what I take home? $100 to $150. And then people wonder, well, man, that's it? Times how many trucks? I said at one point I'm running 6 trucks, right? So if I'm making $100 to $150, right? Net, right? After everything is said and done, and that's on some days. Some days it will fluctuate, but the truck never made less than 100, and that's what I wanted to make. As long as the truck made $100, I'm running 15 trucks. So even though that truck is making 100 to 150, I got other trucks that are making netting 300. I got my moving trucks that are netting over 1,000. So with me running 12 to 15 trucks a day, I was pulling in $6,000 to $7,000 because I operate in volume. I got a bunch of stuff going on. I had Office Depot, right? I'm running 9 trucks for Office Depot at a guarantee of $300 a day. $100 to the driver, $100 to the truck, and that's sometimes. Sometimes the truck wouldn't cost $100 for fuel, right? When I say $100 to the truck, I'm looking at fuel. But fuel would average about $50 to $75 depending on the route, because I had the suburban route. I didn't have a city route at first. So at the end of the day, we were pulling in about $100 profit. That's times 9 trucks. So that's 900. Just on that count. I'm pulling in another 600 on another account. We're talking net here. All right. So I was bringing in a couple $1,000s a day net. But my situation is different from the next person's situation. I don't have the cost of financing trucks. I didn't go out and jump out the window and buy all brand new trucks. And all the used trucks that I bought back then, I still got them. They're running fine. You know, they're running fine. So I knew that in order to make a lot of money, I had to operate in volume, right? And I had to keep my overhead low. And then I was able to leverage myself going into these logistics companies because I can offer them X amount of trucks. I can always send them trucks. Mark, man, this independent contractor, can you send us another truck? This guy's truck broke down. He says it's going to be in the shop for 2 weeks. You got a driver and a truck for 2 weeks? Yes, I do. Leverage. I knew how to leverage. All right, so let's move on. The next person may not be able to do what I did. The next person in today's time may not be able to run that many trucks. But let me tell you how to do it in today's time. Do your research. Don't jump out the window with Progressive. Dig a little bit deeper. Get a broker. Rental rates are high. But that's a choice and decision that you have to make. And if you decide to make that choice to get an expensive rental, and if you're running middle mile or you're running final mile, you know that's going to be a part of your overhead. So that's going to take away from your bottom line. If you didn't do your due diligence to find a cheaper insurance company because they're out there, that's taken away from your bottom line. Let's talk about middle mile. Everybody's complaining about the rates, right? A person who bought a truck cash, they're not tripping. They can take a low rate because they don't have that overhead, right? But if you jumped out the window last year and you bought an $80,000 truck and you financing it and you paying $1,800, $1,900 a month, like I know some people are, then that's a lot of money. I know people that are financing trucks and upwards of $1,500 to $2,000 and they're paying $1,500, $1,600, $1,700, $1,800 a month on commercial insurance through Progressive with that one truck. Plus all the other expenses they got to pay. Another example. People are talking about Amazon. Well, there's only one Amazon in my market. That's just the luck of the draw. What may work for you or may work for the next person may not work for you because your geographical location puts you in position where your resources around you are limited. You may have to work a little bit harder. A person who lives in a bigger market may not have to work that hard because they have more resources. They have higher volume count. They have more facilities around them. If you're in the Southeast, it may be harder for you than a person in the Midwest like me in Chicago or in Missouri or in Ohio or in Iowa or in Wisconsin. It's much more freight up here than coming out of Florida, than coming out of Georgia. Everybody's situation is different. A person up here can get to the bag a lot easier. Let me show you something. So another quick example. All right, Amazon guys, people that I hear saying, oh, well, there's only one Amazon in my vicinity and I got a deadhead 50 miles. I'm really not making any money. Then that's something that you should have researched before you went out and rented your box truck or bought your box truck. If you knew you were going to do Amazon Relay, right? You can't complain now that there's only one in your area. And I'm only speaking to the people that I see complaining about this stuff. So what may work for a person in this market, which is Chicago. Let me blow it up. All these are fulfillment centers. This is city and suburbs. All this white, city and surrounding suburbs. If I blow it up, you're going to see more pop up. Hold on. All these are fulfillment centers. Just in this one city. All this is fulfillment. You got some sort stations here. All fulfillment. So what works for Amazon person here, they have more opportunities. There's more resources, more volume here. What works for that person doing Amazon here obviously isn't working for a person in a smaller market, right? So a person here could say, oh, I make this, I make that. Man, I got to run. It was 50 miles. It paid 3. I did it 3 times. I did it 3 times in one day. Man, it was so sweet. The miles were so short. I just deadheaded back and got another one, ran it again, and did it and ran it again. You may not be able to do that in a smaller market. 1, because there's only one facility, and 2, the volume is low. Man, Amazon comes to my building probably 4, 5, 6 times a day, and each time they come, they load it with stuff. I can take the camera down to the mailroom right now, and you probably see hundreds of packages from the last 5 to 10 shipment. The same day 5 to 10, the 5 to 10 same day delivery. For the people who got the stuff late and they didn't go down and get it because they probably in bed right now. Or the overnight. So, it's plenty of examples that I can give on what works for one may not work for the other, and vice versa. It's all about choices and decisions, how you enter the game, and it's about decreasing your overhead, right? Because the margins are small. Forget everything else. When you're looking for these loads, just keep in mind that your margins are small. You're not going to make X of dollars. Everybody that I know that's making, even from the people that I know to the people that I don't know that are in this game, that gross millions of dollars or $1 million, one thing is the common denominator. They're operating a fleet of trucks. All right. And everybody says the same thing. The margin is small. I made $1 million. My first $1 million I grossed was in 2014. It cost me $800,000 to make that $1 million. That $1 million cost me $800,000. 20% margin, which is high. 20% is high in this industry. And the reason I was able to get it to 20% was I busted my behind. I did as much as I could myself. If it was something I could do myself, we did it. I didn't spend a lot of money on truck washers. I went and got a power washer. I washed my own trucks. I've told this story before. I did my own air filters. If it was something when I took a truck in for PM and they said, man, these air filters going to be another $50, $60, I ordered my own air filter and put it in myself. I know how to do that. I could do that myself. I cut as many corners as I could to increase my bottom line. Because at the end of the day, I was getting paid last. I had to make sure I got paid. The company had enough money generating to pay myself. So, this is a video that I just needed to make so that people can stop thinking that, man, middle amount and final amount are 2 different things. Middle amount, I understand you got to do what you got to do, but at the end of the day, I'm telling you, if you decrease your overhead, whatever you need to do to decrease your overhead, if you're renting a truck and it's high, you need to figure out a way to go find a cheaper rental truck. If your insurance is high, then you need to be prepping yourself to prepare to get out the insurance company and finding you a broker. Right? If you're running final mile, right? and you're getting a good load, but you're having issues, let's say, keeping a driver, maybe you need to pay your driver more and take less. Maybe you're trying to make a certain amount of money that really you're not supposed to be making, because that money should be going out to the labor. If you pay the driver more and take less, you'll probably keep your drivers a little bit longer. But that's understanding that your margin is here. You can't make your margin here when really it's supposed to be here, because if your margin is really supposed to be here and you're stretching out here, that means you're taking from somewhere else. And more than likely, you're taking it from the person or the people that you need to make the money for you. When you understand margins and you understand the industry that you're in and you understand overhead and you understand bottom line, I guarantee you'll see a lot more success in your business.
True story, new story, 2 story.